Welcome, you have reached review time with Imperial, and today's review will be Flash the movie. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Let's get into it. So a movie like this, I always do when it comes to like comics. You hear this often every time I do a review of a comic movie. I always say that I'm a novice when it comes to comics. The hardcore comic historians that give you more details and connect all the dots. I'm basically giving you the review from my perspective and how I view it. And we had Ezra Miller playing as Barry Allen, Flash, of course. There was a surprise appearance, as we've seen in the trailers, Michael Keaton Batman, Ben Affleck Batman, and a surprise appearance at the end. So if you've been watching the CW show Flash, and I was watching it up until like the last 2-3 seasons because it got redundant to me and it just felt like it wasn't going nowhere. But I made it to the part in the CW series Flash where he went back in time and saved his mom. But we all know we seen the yellow Flash during that time. So what happens in this Flash, he gets the idea to go back in time. He did it by accident. He went fast, upset about his mom. He did it by accident. And it was the very first scene is him saving some babies. A hospital was collapsing. The babies flew out. And it just shows his speed, how he connected the dots, saved all the babies. And Batman, played by Ben Affleck, was off capturing some other guys. And then after it showed Batman a cool motorcycle, some cool action for that part. And then when Batman was about to drop this suitcase with the villain hanging on him by a thread, Wonder Woman came. So it was a cameo appearance from Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot, and of course she came in gorgeous as ever and then smiled and she went about her business. So at that moment, Barry, his dad's appeal is coming up and his footage is glitchy and it's not enough footage to show him actually looking up in the footage to clear his name in the footage, because of course we all know that Barry Allen's dad has been in jail for years because he was framed for killing Barry's mom. He always said that he didn't do it, but when Barry came down, his dad was sent to the store to get some tomato sauce. When he came down, there was a knife through the heart of Barry's mom, and his dad was sitting over on top of her, so it made it look like he was the one. So that triggered Barry to be upset and ran, but he ran so fast that he went into the timeline to change time. But when he did it, it was first when he, with the babies, he came back out of it. We seen in the trailer where he talks to Bruce, and Bruce is like, you shouldn't do that because it could alter other timelines. And of course, he said, I could save your parents and stuff like that. But nevertheless, it triggered Barry to go back in time. So when he did go back in time, he starts seeing like he went back in time, and pretty much Bruce told him like, you can't interact, you can't alter it. But he said, well, if I alter it without really interfering. So what he did was it took and put this tomato sauce inside of his mom's cart without her noticing, so she wouldn't forget it, and asked his dad. But then he went back in the timeline, seeing that it was changing everything. But another villain inside the timeline hit him out into another timeline. So when it hit him out, he ended up right in front of his house. So when he ended up in front of his old house, he just walked in the door. His mom was there. She greeted him. dad was there, and he was at this moment a freshman in college. So you see where he's happy to see his mom, and then that timeline, Barry showed up coming home from college, and he's goofy. So Barry from the future tackled him and went to explaining everything to him, like, hey, telling him who he is. And so the 18-year-old Barry is goofy, and so he pretty much said, tonight's the night where you were supposed to get your powers. So we gotta make sure you still get your powers. So 18-year-old Barry was goofy the whole movie until towards the end when he started maturing a little bit. But nevertheless, he took him to the lab, and the sequence happened with the chemicals that's around along with the lightning bolt. But what it did was it hit Future Flash and then hit the second Barry, 18-year-old Barry. So 18-year-old Barry ended up getting the powers, but it took the powers from the future Barry. So they went the whole movie for a long while with the future Barry not having his powers, and the 18-year-old Barry was learning along the way. So they had to get help. So he thought of, who can I go to? He thought of Bruce Wayne. But when he showed up to Wayne Manor was worn down, and Bruce was in there, but he was hair everywhere pretty much. He explained how the timelines, and he created a multiverse, and every time you change something, something else changed. Similar to Kane the Conqueror in Marvel, the different timelines and everything like that. So he went from there and pretty much told him he's not going to help him. So Future Barry does know that's the Batcave down there. So he went into the Batcave. He's trying to figure out how to get everything back in place. But on the news show Zod. So, and of course, in present day times, Zod was killed by Superman. So he's like, okay, I gotta find this planet Superman. So Michael Keaton's Batman pretty much stated, all right, I'm gonna help you. And I did some recon. They holding basically a Kryptonian off in Russia. So they're like, how we gonna get there? Of course, now we're seeing the nostalgia of all the old Batman, back when Michael Keaton played Batman, his bat aircraft and his cool old bat suit with the yellow Batman sign. And so they went and go get Superman, but they bailed him out. It was Kara, which is Superman's cousin, and she's the Kryptonian on this universe. And so when they get her, bail her out, of course she got the same powers as Superman. She heals. And so now Barry, they had Kara and they needed to fight Zod, but Barry had a thought, future Barry had a thought, hey, I can get my powers back. I need lightning created so I can charge my get my powers or whatever. So meanwhile, Kara left, and so or Kara, but I'm gonna say Kara. She left, and she doesn't like humans because as soon as she came to the planet, they captured her. But she got to realize it's good humans and bad humans, just like it's good people from her people, and it's good and bad of her people as well. So she comes back, and they try to fry Barry, and he was scared he just died because he's just getting taken electricity on. And so she took him up in the sky, and lightning hit him. And so when lightning hit him, it zooped his powers back. So now, while he was getting recharged, the 18-year-old Barry created a old Flash suit with Batman's one of his old suits or whatever. So that was cool. Now they was ready to fight Zod. They all was fighting Zod, but realized Batman and Kara dies. So they went back into the Speedverse and kept doing it. And when they realized, hey, nothing's changing, it's inevitable, they still gonna die no matter how you spin it. So future Barry Allen Flash pretty much was like, hey, we gotta change this. So he was talking to the 18-year-old Flash, and he's like, no, we can't. We can fix it. And so he pretty much told him, hey, I really came back because Mom died. He said, I know, but because he overheard him talking to Bruce Wayne, Michael Keaton, Bruce Wayne. So he pretty much said, basically he understood. So nevertheless, the villain that was inside the Time Force that knocked Future Barry out and ended up in that timeline actually was an older version of Barry that was stuck in there trying to fix everything. And so he looked at Future Barry as a hindrance, so he went to stab him, and 18-year-old Barry jumped in the way. And by him stabbing 18-year-old Barry, the villain Barry that was stuck in the Time Force trying to fix everything, he vanished. But while this was going on, it showed the Time Force was showing all the timelines merging together. Now, what most people might not, I know the comic historians know, but from this channel, there was a time there where Nicolas Cage was supposed to play as Superman. And it shows him in a Superman suit, but nothing ever came of it. So in this, when the timelines was crossing, it showed, shout out to Christopher Reeve, Superman that we all know from the 80s. It showed his world and showed the car from that world. And then it showed Nicolas Cage, Superman, or whatever. So I know some people gonna be that, people that really don't know, like, what the heck, Nicolas Cage being Superman? But it was a time where he was supposed to be played as Superman, but it never came up. So nevertheless, they put that in there. But once the older Barry stabbed 18-year-old Barry, the world stopped merging, and then everything started going back to normal. So Future Barry went one last time to see his mom so he could take he seen himself put the tomato sauce in her cart. He went and took it out, but he had a talk to her. Of course, it's the adult version. She looked at him funny, but she just consoled him because she was a good spirit. She just consoled him. He cried and had his farewells tour. And then he left and went into, but when he looked, before he looked at the camera that was in the store. Which that allowed to happen is the glitch that was in the video camera that was where his dad couldn't see the footage. It fixed that glitch. So now when he went back in present day, it was his dad trial. Of course, he showed up late. The dad's lawyer was showing the courtroom the footage, and of course it shows the dad looking up at the camera, which shows he couldn't have been there at the time that the wife was getting killed. So that basically exonerated the dad or whatever. So after the court case, Iris West, of course, approached Barry, telling him, hey, you should, ask me to go out to dinner with you or whatever. And so he did. Of course, he's real awkward and weird, and he did ask her though. So at that time, he was asking Bruce, telling Bruce, like, man, I got a lot to tell you. We need to talk. And Bruce said, I'm pulling up now. And so, of course, in the beginning of the movie, Ben Affleck, Bruce pulled up, had a real nice car. So that same car pulled up. So Barry smiling, waiting for him to come out. And when he looked, it was George Clooney Batman up. So of course a lot of people remember it was a few Batmans after Michael Keaton. It was George Clooney and Val Kilmer. So a lot of people liked it, the George Clooney Batman. So Barry was like, you're not Barry, who are you? And he was like, Barry, no, he said, you're not Batman, who are you? And of course, Bruce looked at him like, what are you talking about? So now he knows something trippy. Some things was straight, but some things was altered. So it went off at that moment. The post-credit scene is one post-credit scene with Barry and Aquaman having drinks. Other than that, of course, that's the push. Aquaman 2 is supposed to drop at the end of this year in December. So overall, it was a decent movie. I felt as though that they couldn't lose with this movie because all the trailers look good. Out of my 4-star rating system, I'm gonna give this movie a 3 out of 4 stars. I don't know what it is right now. Something I felt was missing. I'm pretty sure true comic historians may get this a 4 out of 4. But for my rating, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 4 stars, which is still real good. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Till next time.